I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, to give me the spirit to do this video. Let's jump right to it. John chapter 15, verse 1. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit is taken away, and every branch that beareth fruit is purged, that it may bring forth more fruit. Okay? But if you bring not forth fruit, as the scripture says, you are going to be taken away. That's what you got to pay attention to day in and day out, man, by examining yourselves. Are you being fruitful or are you not being fruitful? Okay? If your fruit is lacking, your works, your faith, then you got to pray and fix it, man. That means your mind is occupied on things of the world, man. Okay? That's why you are becoming unfruitful, man. You got to pay attention to that. But when it says, in every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it bring forth more fruit. Let's go into the blue letter on purge.
Strong's G 2508. Kathairo. Kathairo.
To cleanse of filth and purity. Right. And how do you do that? By fire, man. Okay? These tribulations. All right? That's why it says in Sirach chapter 2, acceptable man in the furnace of adversity, man. Okay? That fire. Tried as gold in the fire. Okay? So we have to suffer to get better. We have to suffer to stay on point. Okay? Yahweh Yahushua does that to keep us on point, man. So you're going to go through things. That's why it says, when thou art brought to a lower state, take it cheerfully, man. Okay? We're brought to a lower state at times to purify us, to purge us, man. To keep us knowing that this is not our rest. To keep us uncomfortable at times. So our fervent love is towards what? Doing his will, pleasing him. Okay? From there, let's go to Revelations chapter 3, starting at verse 15. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou were cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Right, man. Now, we go back to John 15, what I read. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. Right, he speweth out of his mouth. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 3, verse 15. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou were cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, meaning you're not bearing fruit, you're not being fruitful, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Right. The Father's going to take you away, man. He's going to cast that branch away into the fire, man. Because that branch is dry, okay? It has no moisture, and it's not growing, and it's not abounding. Okay? Verse 17. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art rich, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked. Right, man. That goes back to the deceitfulness of riches. Okay? Because when you read Mark chapter 4, let's start at verse 18, the parable of the sowers. And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things enter in, choke the word, and it become unfruitful. Right, man. So when you go back to Revelation chapter 3, let's read 17 again. Because thou sayest, I am rich, the deceitfulness of riches, and increase with goods, and have need of nothing. Okay? And knowest not that thou art wretched, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked. Right. The world has blinded you, man. The cares of this world. That's what we got to watch out for, because Satan is trying to get us to care about things day in and day out that has nothing to do with our salvation whatsoever, man. It has nothing to do with pleasing the Father whatsoever, man. Okay? Back to Mark chapter 4. I'm going to read verse 19 again on down. And the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things enter in, choke the word, and it become unfruitful. And these are they which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word, and receive it, and bring forth fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100-fold. Why? Because the Lord purged them, man. Okay? He was making them better, man, and they responded. Okay? You got guys in this truth that were once in this truth. They get purged, meaning certain things happen in their life, man, to make them better. And they get offended at the Lord, man. They get tired of suffering. And they start caring about the world because they get comforted. All right? Because they don't want to suffer no more. Verse 21. And he said unto them, is a candle brought to be put under a bushel or under a bed? Right, because that candle is a light, which is his word, man. We supposed to walk as the children of the light. We supposed to be out in the open. All right? It says, and not to be set on a candlestick, for there is nothing hid which shall not be manifested. Neither was anything kept secret, but that it shall come abroad. Right, man. Okay? So the Lord knows if you're being fruitful or not, if you're doing his will or not, man. You can't trick the Lord, man. Okay? So you're not tricking the Lord. If you ain't doing what you're supposed to do right now, you're tricking yourself. You're deceiving yourselves. Okay? So whoever, for one, we all need to get better. Okay? We all can go better and better and harder. Okay? But the ones that's really, really, really lacking and really bullshit, man, you better fix it while you have the time and while you have the grace, man. You better repent from that spirit. Because if you don't, you're going to be cast out, man. The Lord going to cast you out, man, to darkness, man. And you're going to die to death. You're going to be beaten with many stripes, as it says in Luke chapter 12, verse 47. Okay? He that kneweth the Lord will, but did not prepare himself, shall be beaten with many stripes. You don't want to be that person. Okay, from there, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be you steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work, meaning fruitful. That's the only way to abound, man, is to be fruitful. Okay? Always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Right. And when you're lukewarm, man, when you're really not doing nothing, man, that labor is in vain. Okay? Because you're lukewarm. You're indecisive. 1 minute you're in the truth and 1 minute you're not. Okay? 1 minute you're doing the work. Okay? And the next minute you're in the world with everybody else. Okay? Enjoying that worldly spirit, man. With wickedness. Okay? You can't have 1 foot in the world and 1 foot the truth. That's that lukewarm, man. The Lord said he would rather you be cold then. If that's the case, just be cold, man. Just go back in the world and just enjoy the world until I put judgment on you. All right? Point blank, period. From there, let's go to Matthew chapter 25, starting at verse 29. Okay? Now, when you read before this, it goes into the talents, man. Okay? It goes into them receiving the money, and the Lord asked for the money, man. You had some that brought forth more talents. They increased, meaning they became fruitful. And you have the wicked servants that put their candle under a bushel, under a bed, man, and not on the rooftop. All right? So Matthew chapter 25, verse 29. For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. Meaning he don't have no treasures in heaven, man. He wasn't being fruitful. Verse 30. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. That's that branch, okay, that the Lord got rid of. When you read John 15. Let's go back to John 15. John chapter 15, verse 1. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit is taken away. Back at Matthew chapter 25, verse 29. For to everyone that hath it shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he had. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. Right, man. That branch that was dry. Okay, that was dusty, that had no moisture. Okay, that was just sitting there idle. All right, doing other things. While other man was blooming with fruit. The other man was filled with water, man. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So if you the ones in this truth, man, that's not being fruitful, you're going to fulfill this prophecy. And you're going to die. You're not going to make it, man. Okay? The warnings and the reproofs is coming out through the spirit of Yahweh Shai, man, to take heed, to examine yourself. Okay? The Lord said, before judgment, examine yourself, and thou shalt find mercy. That's Sirach chapter 18, verse 20. From there, let's go to Galatians chapter 5, starting at verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, meaning if you love me, feed my sheep, like Yahushua told Peter 3 times. Okay, the love is doing what he told you to do, which is feed his sheep. Okay, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, and faith. Right, because it's impossible to please Yahweh without faith. All right, meekness, temperance, against such there is no law. So if you want to be covered under that blood, man, okay, you have to be fruitful to be covered under the blood of Yahushua. Period. You have to be fruitful, man. You can't be a dry ass branch, a dusty branch, okay, with no fruit. Okay. The only thing to do with that is burn it, man. That's firewood right there. Okay, let's go to Matthew chapter 7, starting at verse 16. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do man gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Right, corrupt. Okay, a good example of that is leaven in the doctrine, like these other camps. Okay, they ain't being fruitful. Why? Because they teaching falsehood, man. They teaching lies, man. All right, how can they be fruitful if they're telling their people that they can take the chip? Don't worry about it. It's not the mark of the beast. Okay, so that's just an example. Verse 19. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down. That's that dry branch. And cast into the fire, man. So that individual that's not being fruitful and not doing the will, man, okay, and became a wicked, unprofitable servant, okay, the Lord is going to reserve that individual for fire, man. Or he could put judgment on that individual before them. But overall, man, they're going to get that fire. All right? Verse 20. Wherefore by their fruits you shall know them. Right, man. So be fruitful. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 30. They would none of my counsel, they despised all my reproof. Right, man. That's talking to the 2/3, okay? And that's talking to the ones who was in this truth that didn't want to get the reproof, man. Okay? They did not want to correct themselves. They did not want to examine themselves. All right? When they were being unfruitful, they didn't want to change nothing. Why? Because the world hath their mind. Verse 31. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. Right. Either you're going to be filled with the devices on the left-hand side, okay, which is a demonic side, all right, the worldly side, okay, or you're going to be filled with the fruit of the righteousness, okay, on the right side, because you were fruitful, okay? Either or, ain't no middle, man. You either on the left or the right, being fruitful or not being fruitful. Verse 32, for the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whosoever hearkeneth to me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. Right, man. Who take that reproof? Who takes that wise counsel, man? Okay, on how to be fruitful, according to the scriptures. So, this is an exhortation for all the brothers, man, that believe in this truth for real, man. That's really serving Yahweh Shai. Okay? And those who are having a lot of trouble, man, you got to pray fast, do what you got to do, man. Cut whatever you need to cut off, man. Because it's about being fruitful and abounding in the grace. Okay? But that grace is almost over, man. All right? Either you're going to get right or you're going to be spewed out according to the Spirit. I want to give all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai for giving me the spirit to do this video. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom tell you Akamar that is doing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.